that's the thing that they challenged me as I went throughout my career, is to find things in people that you would want to inquire into your character, right? And work towards implementing those things, you know, into your life, not just, professionally, but just at home as well with, your family members, different relationships that you have with friends, it's how you carry yourself, and just being, just planting seeds in people's lives and watching them grow, right? Just being that inspirational person in someone's life to let them know, like, I'm here for you and I'm rooting for you. You know what I mean? I'm in your corner. You know what I mean? No matter what the circumstances are. And in the interview, they were using was it Chat GTP?
GPT.
GPT?
Yeah, GPT.
And they were using this. So as the interviewer was asking them questions,
Yeah.
the question was going in and it would spit out the response for the interview. I'm just like, hey man, like,
Wow.
wow.
Turn this up, turn this up.
Your professional development is one of the keys to your career success. When you combine your desire to grow with actionable steps, your journey to success becomes an incredible reality.
Hi, I'm Paul Foranby, and welcome to IncrediPaul Leadership, where we learn how to become the most incredible versions of ourselves by learning from each other. Today, I have the honor of having Donald Trice Jr. on the show. He's a reliability engineering manager at Henkel. He has a breadth of experience in manufacturing. I'm just going to let you introduce yourself, Donald. Like, introduce yourself the way you would do it.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Paul, on your podcast. I really appreciate it. I know it's been a long time coming. I'm Donald Trice, um, reliability engineering manager, currently work for Henkel. I'm a father. I am a husband. I am a son, brother. I'm just about everything that you could put a title to. I've had it.
Yeah.
Pretty
Just go
much.
down the list. You've
Absolutely.
done it all.
Absolutely.
Just check it out.
Absolutely.
So I love that. So I know you're at Henkel now, but
Mhm.
from knowing you, you've been at other places. You have a wide range of experiences. So why did you even choose to get into engineering at the first place? Kind of walk me through like your engineering
Absolutely.
story.
Absolutely, man. So honestly, man, I got my start. My grandfather was very inspirational in my life, man. He retired from McDonnell Douglas, man. He worked there for over 30 years, um,
Wow.
and had a lot of experience and would talk to me about all the different things. He kept me handy around the church, doing odd jobs around the church, trying to keep things going,
Mm.
cutting the grass, all kind of stuff like that,
Oh
man.
wow.
So it was awesome. And then my godfather also, he also retired from Boeing. Well, he started with McDonnell Douglas, and then they got acquired by Boeing.
Hmm.
And he was an industrial engineer there, quality engineer, and he was very inspirational because he actually um, completed his engineering degree and was really shepherding me, you know what I mean, throughout the process, and
Mm.
very informative. Um, helped tutor me a lot through really every grade before I got to engineering, man, and helped me, man. And
That's
so
awesome.
that's really where I got my start, man, and was inspired by watching them just do things and watching how people responded to them, and just
Mm.
uh, the quality of work, man, that they taught me, man, and just ensured and instilled so much into me, man, and then really got my start, man. Sure.
Wow.
Yeah, it was
That's really
awesome.
powerful.
Yeah,
That the fact that he took the time for mentoring you and what he had done at McDonnell Douglas into Boeing.
yeah, because my godfather, he uh I remember going to his house a bunch of times, and man, he had so many different uh uh security clearances. He had like a stack of badges on the wall. So, different places that he would, I'm like,
Yeah.
man, I'm like, what do you do? He's like, I can't tell you, G17 classified. So that would always crack me up. Like, man, like, what are you working on? I wish I could tell you,
As I
but
can.
it'd be awesome, man. But yeah, it was awesome, man. Just talking to them about what they could talk to me about. That was cool. They got me very interested in engineering, man. So that's where I got my start,
Yeah.
man. Yeah.
That's very cool. And then from there, how did you choose what engineering you wanted to do? Because you didn't go into
Yeah.
aerospace. And then
No.
talk about what you did choose.
Yeah. Well, so I chose engineering management with an emphasis in mechanical engineering. The way I chose that was, so both of my parents. So my dad retired from Schnucks. He worked in the grocery business and retired. Worked for them for 30 years, over 30 years. And my mom worked in the as a manager for a publishing company. And so all of their management styles, they would talk to me about different things, and how they would handle different situations. So that management structure was already kind of ingrained into me, and just how to carry myself, how to articulate my thoughts. Really, they coached me through that. As throughout my upbringing and everything. But then the technical side, um, I thought I wanted to be a computer engineer and go into coding and all of that. And at first I thought, like, as I started taking like the electrical courses and circuits and all that stuff, I was like, oh, okay, I can do electrical engineering. But then I was like, I'm not really comfortable with things I can't see.
Oh, right.
Electricity, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, but you give me a
Yeah.
gear or
Mm,
something, I can, something I can touch. That's a
yeah.
lot different. You know what I mean? So uh, it's funny because I met my wife in college, right?
Mm.
So at St. Louis Community College, I met my wife, and she really wanted nothing to do with me when she first met me. She was really playing hard to get. I know she was. She wouldn't tell y'all that, but she would. She would.
I was gonna say, do we need to bring her into this conversation?
She's gonna deny everything I'm saying, but you guys know the truth. It's
All
fine.
right, yeah, we
But
know. Are you looking for a place to continue to grow and develop, especially in your leadership? How about connecting with others who feel the same way? Hi, I'm Paul Ferrandi, aka IncrediPaul, and I've got great news for you. The IncrediPaul community is for people who desire to become the most incredible versions of themselves. The community is for individuals who are goal-driven and action-oriented. This community is dedicated to leadership and personal growth, especially in going deeper in your career, starting a business, or developing a business. Join me in becoming the most incredible version of yourself. Go to incredipaul.org/community to join the waitlist and sign up. INCREDI Paul.org/community. Join the waitlist. I can't wait to see you there.
We both, as we met, we talked about pursuing our uh, discipline in engineering, and she was like, well, I'm gonna go for mechanical, and I'm like, well, I think that's the direction I want to go as well. So then we both transferred to University of Missouri Rolla, or now Missouri University of Science and Technology, and finished up our degree there. But it was a lot of different influential people, especially at Florissant Valley Community College, that really helped to develop and mold us into what we become today. And one of those people is Dr. Freeman, Dr. Terrence Freeman. Super influential. He's a part of NSBE Professional. I know know Dr. Freeman
Yeah,
very
yeah,
well.
Dr. Freeman.
He's
The OG.
instrumental. And I gotta tell you on this podcast that I am appreciative of you, my friend, because
Me?
yes. So I get to tell you this breaking news. Okay. So you made a contact at Hinkle, okay,
Yeah.
and you basically threw me an alley oop, okay.
Oh,
So
wow.
for the NSBE convention, okay, they you inform them that, hey, if I can't go, Don, you know what I mean, will be be
Yeah.
available to go. Well, they came back and
Mm-hmm.
told me, hey, everything is full. We don't have any
Mm.
spots left. But then they came back and they said we
Ooh.
have an opening and you can go.
Yes.
And they approved it. So I am on my
Yeah.
way to NSBE 50 in Atlanta, Georgia, and
Yes.
I am ecstatic about it. So
That's awesome.
all of those students that we've been able to help, with Hinkle, we were able to help the NSBE professional chapter, PCI, with getting
Mm.
a scholarship, $10,000 awarded from Hinkle
Mm.
to NSBE Professionals Group. So that definitely helped a lot of students get to the NSBE convention and also some scholarships as well. So definitely super proud of that. Definitely looking forward to seeing the results of all of the students that are going to be able to participate from just that conversation, and you being instrumental in allowing me to be able to have an opportunity to even go. So my good brother, I appreciate you. I appreciate you.
Of course. That's
Yeah,
what brothers are for,
absolutely,
right?
man.
No, I'm glad you're getting to go and represent Hanko, because when I was leaving, and I know you reached
Absolutely.
out, and at first they said it was full, so I was disappointed. But
Yeah.
like, yeah, this is breaking news for you, me too. Like, everyone, listen, I didn't know about this, so like,
It's
this is
because of
a
you,
genuine
man.
reaction.
Because of you, man. It's because of you. So like I say, man, I really appreciate you, man, for making that connection. Like we say, networking is everything. It's not necessarily
Mm-hmm.
about who you know, it's about who knows you. Right.
Mm,
So
that part.
that's a gem there, man. I'm telling you, I had to learn that throughout my career, because you never know um when your name will come up in conversation, but you always want your name to be held in a positive light, right? So I think we've been able to do that within our career, to help, you know what I mean? A lot of people, anybody that comes across us, we're looking to positively impact everybody that we come across. I really feel that that is my passion and that is my purpose. You know what I mean? My God given purpose is to positively impact everybody that I come in contact with, man. So, um, yeah, absolutely.
Uh, that's truly incredible, which is why I wanted to have you on the show.
Yeah,
I'm gonna take a second to give you your flowers, my brother,
come on.
because when I came on to Henkel, like, you gave me great advice about just being really in touch with the people, asking questions, and just
Absolutely.
meeting them where they're at. Because for some people are not as familiar with union environments, unions get a bad rap. Some unions are better than others.
Mhm.
The union that we were both working in had historically not the best relationships with
Yeah.
management.
Hmm.
So everyone had been telling me that coming in, but you took me aside and told me, like, hey, Paul, just take the time to get to know the people.
Absolutely.
They know what's up. And even from what I saw your interaction with them, that you were the go-to person.
Mhm.
Like, anytime they had a problem, they came to you. Even if they had their supervisors or people, they were coming to you, even if stuff that wasn't necessarily related to you.
Yeah.
I know sometimes you had to like shift around and be like, hey, you should be going to this person,
Absolutely.
which that's a whole other part of leadership. But so I definitely want to give you your flowers as far as like
I
what you
appreciate that.
modeled in a situation where we were surrounded by not always the best leaders, but
Hmm.
you shine for sure.
Absolutely. I appreciate that, man. I really do. I really do, man. And that's the thing, man. It's, you know, throughout my career, I've been surrounded. I've been very fortunate to be surrounded around great people, right? That uh basically demonstrated those characteristics of what it took to be a great leader, right? So that's the thing that they challenged me as I went throughout my career, is to find things in people that you would want to inquire into your character, right? And work towards implementing those things, you know, into your life, not just, professionally, but just at home as well with, your family members, different relationships that you have with friends, is how you carry yourself, and just being, just planting seeds in people's lives and watching them grow, right? Just being that inspirational person in someone's life to let them know, like, I'm here for you and I'm rooting for you. You know what I mean? I'm in your corner. You know what I mean? No matter what the circumstances are. And I think that's the most powerful thing, man, is building those relationships, right? Building a rapport, a relationship with, different people. And like you said, meeting them where they're at. You know what I mean? So yeah, I appreciate that,
Yeah. So that's very powerful what you said with the relationship piece. Even what you said earlier with like
man.
not only who you know, but who knows you.
That's
And I
real.
think a lot of times with leadership or networking, like people can get caught up in like, okay, I'm trying to move up the corporate ladder,
Mm,
and they don't realize that people can sense when you're just like using them as stepping stones.
absolutely. And that's
So
the
you have,
thing. That's the
yeah.
thing, Paul. I love what that you said that is because when it's genuine, people can feel that. You know what I
Mm,
mean? So it's very important to be the best version, like you said, of like what this podcast represents, being
mhm,
the best version of yourself as possible, right? And I think
mhm,
the only way that we can do that is if we are true to ourselves and are authentic, right? No matter who's in the room, right? No matter how high they are up in the corporation or uh, whoever it is, you know what I mean? So when you are your authentic self, people can feel that and they resonate with that, right? So uh, I found that no matter I have an easy time talking to anybody, right? Because I'm all about trying to learn and develop a perspective, right? Because I'm not always going to see it from their view, but if I try to, maybe I may see something that I missed previously. And maybe I may have a better understanding of why the person took the actions that they did when they took them, right? So, and that comes from working in groups. I mean, in engineering, most most people are very technical, can't really hold conversations very well.
yeah.
And that is why I feel that it's very important, like at these conventions, like in NSBE and different things like that. I've had the opportunity to go with my previous employer, and they sent my wife and I, and we were able to talk to so many different people and meet so many different people that were pursuing their, careers in engineering, and were able to help some people to start their careers in engineering. And that just was it was awesome, man, to see them to be that person to influence them and motivate them to go to the next step. You know what I mean? And then actually watching them take it, and then what? Oh man, that's special to me. You know what I mean? I know a whole lot of people right now that are just excelling in their careers, and that's just because they are staying true to who they are. And it's people um in certain positions that can see something in someone and try to help cultivate that into what they know that they can become. And I think the more that we do that, we especially need that nowadays more than ever. Especially with the generation that's coming up, because I think a lot of the youth that is coming up are so heavily integrated into technology, and but they are missing the interpersonal skills, you know what I mean, that they are getting from actually speaking to a person, you know what I mean, not um via a digital format, you know what I mean, just
Yes.
me, you, space and opportunity, let's go out and have a conversation, you know
Yeah.
what I mean.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
I feel that the more that we do that, um the more we will see the youth, go in a different direction, than where they are now. And yeah,
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I think Gen Z gets a bad rap a
hmm
lot, but honestly, what I see from them is a lot of passion and purpose in what they're trying to do. And
yeah,
so if they're doing something that they don't see a purpose in it, they're like, why am I doing this?
yeah,
They want to see it doesn't have to be that big. And I think that's what like us and even previous generations,
Hmm.
like where it was more like you're just happy to have a job, to
Yeah.
like us as millennials, it's like, okay, we get to choose the job we want.
Right.
And then Gen Z is known for, well, I'm just gonna create my own job. Uh,
Exactly.
so
Exactly. And you know what's funny about that, Paul, is I feel that they're constantly challenging the status quo,
hmm
right? So, hey, if the name of the game is for me to go get a degree and go work for someone else, why can't I skip that step and go work for myself? If I can
hmm
make someone else millions of dollars, why can't I make myself millions of dollars? You know what I
exactly.
mean? And I
Exactly.
and I feel that they have so many different examples of people who've done that, right?
Yes.
Successfully on a lot of these digital platforms, on YouTube, different podcasts. You know,
hmm
people just starting it from the ground up
Yeah.
and looking at what it blossoms to. I mean,
hmm
because if you can find a good or a service or something that's
hmm
interested, a topic that somebody that you can get someone to watch, you can it's profitable.
Yeah,
And
it
they
is.
figured that out.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And they are excelling
Yeah.
at it. And I hope that um they continue down that pathway because they're
hmm
breaking barriers literally. You know what
hmm
I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's also key what you said about the interpersonal side
Hmm.
because like I'm sure like there's already I know there's studies, but the social media hasn't been around long enough for them to know really the long-term effects yet.
Yeah.
But I think we all know that social media is great to an extent, but
Hmm.
it can do a lot to your mental health if you put all your emotions and self-worth into that. So
Absolutely.
it's like a double-edged sword. Like yes, you can make a lot of money, get a lot of influence, and sometimes I would separate the influence from the money because a lot of people
Right.
that have influence, they're not actually making any money. They're getting views, but they don't know how to monetize it, which is like a whole
Right.
other thing. But so when I'm mentoring them or just mentoring anyone, it's like, and I work on this personally, is to make sure that who you are online is not who you are trying. You don't get so caught up in your online version that
Correct.
you don't live your own life.
Exactly.
Like
Yes.
it's like you're trying to post all this stuff, like create this perfect world.
Right.
I think that's why VR is getting more and more, or alternate reality more so is getting more prevalent because you can create this perfect world because people
Man.
are trying to escape from this current
Reality.
world.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're trying literally escape reality. So, and I think now more than ever, because there's AI, there's alternative reality, and I'm probably sounding old, but I love all these things. We
Right.
also have to make sure, like the interpersonal skills, the leadership skills, I like to
Mm.
call them life skills, because
Yes.
these are the skills you need to be successful. Like AI is going to continue to go, but AI cannot replace a human as far as emotions and any of those things.
Correct.
It cannot.
Correct. That is one thing that I don't think anybody has mastered yet is the ability to program emotion. Right. I
Yeah.
mean, you can get close to it, but
Yeah.
how do you program sympathy? You know what I mean? Or
hmm
to be sympathetic. And I've watched a lot of uh people do a lot of different forms of research on
Mm.
that, right? How far we've come with AI and its connection to machinery and the ability for and that's the thing too, Paul, is like we have to be very careful and conscious about the programming that are going into the programming that's going into a lot of these, you know, services that are ran by artificial intelligence because they lack the sympathy, they lack the emotion, they lack the ability to make a judgment call when it's someone's life on the line, right? So when you think about military applications or just different things about, social economic status within the world, if you're allowing um, AI to choose on who gets a mortgage, or who gets approved for, you know, an auto loan, or, all kind of stuff. We have to do our due diligence to make sure that there's the proper oversight over these things, to make sure that, a lot of the program biases that are in this code are not, adversely affecting the people who are trying to use it. So that's how we have to be careful with that. So it's like, the profession that we chose, being in tech, we have to be upholding citizens to make sure
Yeah.
we're doing our due diligence to,
Yes.
you know, it's a difference between helping someone and now they're like solely dependent on it. You know what I mean? To the point where they can't
Yes.
function without it, right? I think we've had this
Yeah.
conversation. How many of our friends can get in a car today with no GPS, with a map only, and drive to another state? Not
Right.
too many. Not too many. Not too
Yeah.
many.
And that was needed when AT&T went down for 6 or 7
Come
hours.
on, Paul. Come on, Paul. Come on. You know what I mean? So it's that's one of the things that I think is going to start waking people up, is the
Mhm.
fact that when you lose access to these things, how
Mhm.
can you function, right?
Mm.
And one thing is not, it's not just technology. So if you think that happened to AT&T, what happens when, a lot of the things that we take for granted today, what happens when you can no longer get gas for your vehicle? What happens when the grocery stores no longer have food on the shelves? You know what I mean? Those are the things that we need to prepare ourselves for and our families for, to make sure that we're in a position to survive if, a lot of these resources that we use every day is no longer exist, because we were able to function before they existed, but now with so many people dependent upon them, that a lot of people will not be able to function if they don't exist. You know what I mean? And that's the thing that I'm fearful of about the generations coming up, because they are highly dependent on it right now. You know what I mean? So if we can take them a step back and teach them how to grow a garden, you know, how to go out and hunt and gather, and, prepare an animal, for consumption. You know what I mean? And taking some of the other things that we would use from an animal to, you know, make clothes or leather. You know what I mean? Take a cow or break it all the way down to use all of the parts of it. You know what I mean? So those are the different skill sets that I think we should be really trying to instill in the youth. And it's funny because in my neighborhood, it's funny because I come home and I see the kids out playing all the time. And that brings so much joy to my heart, because I know that they could be in the house on a tablet or on a video game, but they're choosing to go outside and do something different. So I commend their parents, my neighbors, to the utmost, because those are the things that I think is lost in today's world. And the closer that we can bring children back to having that sense of innocence and just what
Mhm.
it means to go out and play. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to have fun and be safe in their own neighborhood.
Mhm.
That brings joy to my heart, man. It really does.
No. Yeah, you bring up a really good point. Just the art of going outside.
Hmm.
Because that, yeah, I think for both of us, that was the babysitter was like, just go outside with the neighbors all day,
All
just hang
day.
out. Don't come back here until you're ready to eat or drink water. That's about it.
Exactly. Yep. We want you to tire yourself out so that when you come in, all you want to do is go to bed. Matter of
Yeah,
fact, I want you to
yeah,
be so tired that you almost can't even make it to the bed.
yeah. You just crawl up.
Just lay on the floor and make a pallet. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's funny, and I know we're saying all this, and it can for some people it might feel like we're going too far, but like with all of this, it is a balance. It's like,
It is.
yes, technology is great. Like we're both engineers, we both love technology,
Hmm.
like we geek out over this stuff.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, at what point do you not understand how to do certain things? Because
Right.
the less we do, the more we're reliant on technology.
Correct.
So as you with anything really, if you stop doing it, you lose that skill.
Yes.
I know there's certain things, just like riding a bike or driving a car. Like
Right.
I think that stuff takes a while. But like if you asked me to go like plant a garden right now or go hunt and gather, I'd be like, I'm going to Deerbirds. Like you need
Exactly.
something.
Exactly.
Like
Exactly. And that's the thing, man. And I don't think we're anywhere close to anything like that happening, but it's just,
yeah.
I mean, look at what happened when we went through COVID, right? Nobody expected
Hmm.
any of that. And COVID
No.
transformed all of our lives.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And in a very different way. I mean, just look at what it did to logistics, right?
Oh wow.
Look at
Yeah.
the expansion of Amazon throughout that. Everything
Blew up.
now is just about a delivery service, right?
Hmm.
DoorDash. Now you can even, I think it's you can even have alcohol delivered to your house.
Oh yeah, I know Uber Eats has been. Yeah, I've been
Yeah,
seeing those commercials over the last year. They're like Uber Eats is not just for eating; you can Uber Eats anything. Which I'm like, you guys gotta change your name because
right,
it's Uber Eats. So if you're doing other stuff like groceries,
right.
like you need to change your name.
Exactly, man. But yeah, it's funny to see how things evolve over time, especially technology. Right? We've seen different technologies come into fruition and also go through obsolescence
Yeah. Right.
within the lifetime that we're living in right now, Paul.
Yes. Yeah.
One of those things
Crazy.
is something on the laptops that we're using right now. Mine doesn't have a disk drive on it. How about yours?
Oh yeah, mine does not have a disk drive.
You know what I mean? So it's like there was a time when you couldn't buy a computer without a disk drive, but now you can't
Hmm.
buy one with a disk drive, right?
No.
The CD, the compact disc, has come
Hmm.
into fruition during our time frame and go into obsolescence. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nowadays, you can't buy a computer or a vehicle with it. So I asked someone the other day, I
Mm-mm.
said, would you say I have an old school car if I still have a CD player in it? Are we there yet or not? I mean, because nowadays
We're close. We're
you
close.
can't buy my wife's vehicle,
No,
2023, no CD player.
no.
You know what I mean? So it's like, now I look at it, it's like, wow, this is where we're at.
Yeah, even mine's a 2017. There's no CD player in it.
What I'm saying, Paul. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. And mine is a year earlier earlier than yours. I have a 2016 and I have a CD player in mine. That's why I'm like, am I there? Somebody let me know.
Yeah, it's a cutoff. It's a year
Is
to
that off?
cutoff.
Is it 2016? Let me know. I feel like I graduated to having an old school car now.
Yeah, right. You got that classic car.
The classic car. Yeah,
Hmm.
absolutely.
No, this is a good conversation just about understanding like where we are and even where we're going because
Yes.
even if you look at AI right now, I think I saw something because at least at the time of this recording that
Mm-hmm.
Chat GPT with their Sora with the AI generated videos,
Mm.
like it's like just from the text, like they can do like amazing stuff with it. But then I saw someone like talking about it, and just a year ago was just like this goofy Will Smith video that it didn't
Uh-huh.
look anything lifelike.
Uh-huh.
And so we go from that to like you can barely tell that this is an AI generated video,
Mm-hmm.
basically like a B-roll type stuff, just from a line of text. So
Right.
we can do that in a year. Like just thinking about like people coming into college this year. What is the world going to look like when they graduate college? Are you wondering what's next? Has everything you tried failed? Or maybe you just feel stuck? Then coaching might be right for you. The coaching relationship is a relationship totally centered on you. If you're tired of running on the hamster wheel of life and want to start to see results, reach out to IncrediPaul for help. So what are you waiting for? Go to incredipaul.org/coaching, IncrediPaul.org/coaching, or at I am IncrediPaul on all my socials. or you can click the link in the bio for your free coaching session. I want to make sure you become the most incredible version of yourself.
Man, it's gonna be a lot different than what it looked like when we graduated, Paul. I'm telling
Oh,
you.
yeah.
And that's the thing nowadays. I recently had a conversation with Dr. Freeman. Actually, we
Mm.
seen him at St. Louis Science Center. So we were able to take my daughter and my son, my wife and I were to the St. Louis Science Center. And on this particular day, they had a seminar that NSBE put on. They had a booth there, and also the university that we attended also had a nice setup there. And I was talking to him about that, and he was like, "We have to prepare the students now much differently than we had to be prepared to enter into corporate America, right? Just because of the differences that are now um, upon us, right? And that really resonated with me because, when you look at technology now and then you look at, I actually watched uh, someone interview. And in the interview, they were using was it Chat GTP?
GPT.
GPT?
Yeah, GPT.
And they were using this. So as the interviewer was asking them questions,
Yeah.
the question was going in and it would spit out the response for the interview. I'm just like, hey man, like
Wow.
wow. You know,
Yeah.
just like
That's where we're
a
at.
interview like we could be having right
Mhm.
now via Skype or Teams or whatever, and he had the screen up, and you can watch it real time as he was speaking, and the person. I was just like, wow, and it was giving
Mhm.
him step by step instructions of in the response, and it was brilliant. And I'm like,
Wow.
well, what happens when this person is not really qualified,
Mm.
but they're able to get through the interview process and
Yeah.
and get the position, but yet they are nowhere near, what that person needs. So like that,
Yeah.
when I watched that, that was kind of discouraging because I know so many
Mm.
people who've worked hard who really know and understand the information that
Yeah.
I'm sure would do super well at whatever the position is, but then you
Mhm.
have someone using that to, I'm like, come on, man. Like we could be using this to do so many other different things, but hey,
Mhm.
I get it.
Yeah. So that's really interesting.
Hmm.
And I think part of that is that the interview I think everyone knows that the interview process is kind of broken
Hmm.
because you're not even a lot of times you're not even testing people for the skills. You're just testing how well they interview. Because
Yes.
I think we've both seen that people can have a good interview, know what to say
Hmm.
without having AI. But when you have AI, it makes it a whole lot easier to know what to
Hmm.
say,
Yeah, it does.
and then not know how to do the job
Correct.
just because, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I think that's probably happened a lot more due to COVID because everything
Mm.
was virtual. Like you could have, even if it wasn't AI, you could have a bunch of cheat notes or stuff up,
Hmm.
cheat sheet up about stuff to say that may or may not be what you actually feel, what you would do in the
Right.
moment. You have that in front of you. So I think I've seen more about more in-person interviews or more referrals happening because people are starting to realize that, hey, this person might be a good interviewer, but it it may not be the same in person versus online.
Exactly. Exactly, Paul. It is funny, that's the challenging thing when you're going to recruit someone, right? So,
Mhm,
you know, do you have the fundamental skills that it'll take to do the job? Yeah, I'm sure
mhm,
he'll check that box, right? When you're looking at someone's resume, all right, yep, okay, and nowadays, a lot of people, or a lot of, I wouldn't say people, but a lot of companies are now moving away from requiring a bachelor's degree, and I think I've worked in industry long enough that I've been able to meet so many different people that may not have the technical background, or I mean, not necessarily the technical background, but uh, the technical education, right? But they have the technical background, and they've been in these situations, or they have that experience, that they've worked on these different things, that even the people with the technical education don't even understand. You know what I mean? So theory is one thing, but being actually do it in the field and bring it to fruition, that's something completely different, right? So being able to find the doers, or the people that can actually make things happen, is the challenge, right? And it's like, well, how do you gather that from such a short period of time? You know what I mean? And I think that's why some companies go through such a strenuous interview process, to try to gauge, like, well, hey, are they just a good interviewer, or are they just going to be able to do the job? You know what I
That's
mean?
true.
So,
Yeah.
and I think the companies that do take it that far are really serious about, I think they've had some people who were
Oh
posers,
yeah,
you know what I
I'm
mean? And
sure.
actually was like, nah, I think we need to go a little harder in this interview.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
No, that's
absolutely.
so true. And I think that's why, like, having referrals and having people who know you is
Hmm.
so important,
Yes,
because it is so much time and effort to go through the interview
hmm,
process. And then even after you go through it, you really, like, I know some cases people have like 5, 6 interviews, which I think that's excessive.
that
If
is
it's like over, unless it's like at this like all in one day, I mean, that might be fine.
right.
But like to go like 5 or 6 different weeks of interviewing, that's too much.
That's crazy.
So having people who know them, the referrals, I think that's why companies place so much value on that,
Hmm.
because they realize, okay, we have someone already in the company. This person is vouching for them.
Hmm.
Like it's almost like a shortcut to show like this person is good. But there also has to be some checks and balances, because I
Right.
know you and I both know from working in different areas that
Hmm.
you don't want people just bringing all their friends in
Hmm.
and trying to create an environment that is conducive for them, but not necessarily for the business.
Absolutely. And I think, you know, that a lot of people ask me before I came to Hinkle. So me and my wife worked together at the same plant for 7 years straight. And
Mm.
a lot of people ask us, how do you go to work with your spouse every day? And I'm like, it's different. It's definitely different, but it's accomplishable, right? It's
Yeah.
possible. And we were fortunate that both of the places that we worked, the plants were huge. So we could work in the same department and still never see each other that day. Like, that's how big some of the facilities were. And, but we still found ourselves talking about work sometimes, when we would come home, but then we would also have to calibrate ourselves, like, okay, that's enough about work, but it's like we know the same people. We see the same people every day, so then, and that was before we had any kids, at one of the locations, so it's like that was our lives. You know what I mean? But it was it was also a gift, also because we were able to bounce ideas off of each other, right? And challenge each other on different things. Like, oh yeah, we're working on this project, and have you thought about this? And just really helping each other, through different situations. Like, hey, have you thought about this? Bouncing the ideas off of each other, because it's like where I'm not strong, she's amazing at, you know what I mean? And where she's not the strongest, that's where I, come in. So we were able to provide that balance to each other, to help ourselves, to the point where we didn't go crazy, like, oh, I can't work with you. Like, no, it was fun. You know what I mean? It was actually fun, because we got to see different things. And I mean, the plant that we worked at in South Texas was all outdoors. So, I mean, imagine
Mm.
South Texas heat on the Gulf Coast. I mean, the
Oh,
sun
wow.
literally felt like it was sitting on your shoulders. You know what I mean? It was that close. It felt like it was that close.
Oh, man.
But the experience was awesome. I mean, and like I said, the HR manager that we had there was super instrumental. I actually met her at the NSBE convention, and I
Mm.
never forget this. This was in 2011 at the NSBE convention in
Mm.
Pittsburgh, and Alcoa was the company that my wife, she already had the job. She was already working for them, and they had came to recruit at the convention. Now I went with the school, okay, because I was, still a poor college student. You know what I mean? So I rolled with the
Yeah.
school. We took a
Yeah.
what was that? One of those charter buses all the way from St. Louis,
Oh, yeah.
from St. Louis all the way to Pittsburgh. And
Oh, wow.
that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. But
Mm.
got there and I interviewed with them, and I interviewed with her specifically. And I remember
Mm.
her asking me in the interview, why you? Why should I choose you? And I told her, I looked her in her eyes and I told her, I said, if you give me an opportunity, I guarantee you I will not let you down. I said, all I need is an opportunity, right? And I said, I'm not just
Mm.
saying that because my girl, because we weren't even married at the time. My girlfriend works, for your
Oh,
company. But I said,
yeah.
I have plans, not only for her, but for myself and for us. And I said, if you made it, if you gave me the opportunity, I'll show you what I'm capable of. And she gave
Mhm.
me the opportunity. And we
Wow.
went there and we rocked out, man. We showed them what we were capable of. And that was awesome. And they just, I mean, it was like a family there, man. It was truly awesome. And I learned so much from all of the different people that I work with there. Um, Working in the South is a lot different, and a lot of the stereotypes that people have, about the South, we experience none of
Mm.
that, and I'm
Mm.
so grateful for that experience because it really helped developed our character into who we are today, right? We
Mm.
also had the ability to live in Iowa, before, and I know you know about
Mm.
Iowa because you went to Iowa State. And
Yep. Yes, sir.
one of my colleagues that had an office right next to me. So it's funny. I get my colleagues coming from Iowa State. You came from Iowa State. You had an office right next to mine, and I also had another
Yeah,
buddy with an
that's
office
true.
right next to mine from Iowa State. And look, both Kimmies. You know what I mean? So
Oh, really?
yeah, it's awesome, man. So it's awesome. So, but meeting different people and living in different places really adds a lot of perspective to um because working in different areas is different. You know what I mean? It's different cultures, it's different people. When we worked in South Texas, it was like a melting pot, man. You had people there from Brazil, Jamaica, Australia, um, and that worked because it was an aluminum refinery. So we had aluminum refineries all over the world, and we would bring in different people. They would go in different roles, get promotions and go to other plants and things like that. So we were able to meet so many different people, man, and develop so many relationships and be exposed to so many different cultures. And it was just an awesome experience, man, and that really helped us to become who we are today, man. And I'm so grateful for that because now all that I want to do is continue to give back to people that are coming up, just like people looked out for me as I was coming up to provide that helping hand and say, hey, what do you need? How can I help you? But then you as the person also have to take the initiative to make the things happen for yourself also, right? So that was one of the things that I had to learn is just everything is not going to be handed to you. Things that you really want, you have to go and get them. And you just can't go and get them without a plan. You have to develop a plan with objectives to hold yourself accountable to meeting your goal. You know what I mean? So those were the things that I think really helped uh get me to where I am today, man. And I feel like people are like, man, you're just gonna keep going up higher and higher. Like, what role would you aspire to go to? And I say, you know what? I don't really care if I ever get another promotion because that's not what's giving me the fulfillment right now. Is fulfillment is watching you and other people just excel and grow in their careers. I feel like I've accomplished what I set my goal out to be, right? Um, and I feel like at this point, the next goals is to continue just to positively impact everybody else and watch them achieve their goals. Like if I've already been blessed enough to meet mine, you know, who am I to not help other people to reach theirs? You know what I mean? That's where I'm at, and that's where I feel like if we had more people in the world that had that type of mindset, the world would be a much different place. You know what I mean? And I feel like we're getting there because a lot of people are starting to understand what is life about, right? And you know, me and my wife recently had a son last year,
Yeah.
um, young Donald the third,
DT3, as I
keeping
call him.
keeping the legacy going. So and then my daughter Mackenzie, man, she's just celebrated her 6th birthday, man, and
Mhm.
uh, had a ball and just growing up, man, and just watching them, you know, grow up and just preparing them for the world, right?
Mhm.
Um, and the challenges, you know, my wife and I have been very blessed to be in the position that we're in. And
Mhm.
I don't want them to feel any pressure that they need to become what we chose to, right?
Mhm.
Don't I don't want them to have that pressure on them to feel that they have to be an engineer or
Mhm.
have to go into tech. I want them to have the autonomy to go and do whatever their heart desires, whatever is going to make them happy. You know what I mean? This just happened to make me happy. You know what I mean? Going into engineering, so take
Yeah.
that box.
Yeah.
I'm good. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
as I continue to grow and learn, I feel like it's funny because my sister, my little sister, who's currently going to school in Raleigh for her art. She's
Mhm.
going to graduate in May with her architectural engineering degree.
Awesome.
She asked me the other day, like, would you consider like going back? I'm done with school. I'm done with school. But then I had to think about it. I may be done with school, but I'm still a student, of life. You know what I mean? We're never too old to learn. Um, and we can never feel like, even though we've got a piece of paper saying that we've completed a certain curriculum, that we're better than anybody else because they haven't done it. You know what I mean? Just because I have a degree in engineering doesn't make me any better than anybody else. And I think staying true and authentic and staying humble, you know what I mean, throughout the process has kept me grounded. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
I mean, you know me, Paul. You've seen how I
Yeah.
operate. You know what I mean? I'm the same
Yes.
Donald every day.
Yeah, you are. That's what I
You know what I
appreciate
mean?
about you.
Yeah, man.
Keep it
So
real.
I try to you know be my authentic self, man, every day. And
Mhm.
I don't know how to be anybody else. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So yeah,
Yeah. I think it's too much effort trying to fake and put up a facade. I know, like, that's something I had to be intentional about over the last few years, definitely last 5 years, like from college, is that
hmm
I felt like I was always trying to put up a front for other people, but I was like, I don't like this. Like, that's not who I
yeah,
am. I have like one person here, one person there.
yeah,
So like finally I'm just like the guy was just telling me like this is who I want you to be. Like just walk in that. And when I started doing that, I felt a lot more purpose.
man.
Opportunities started coming my way in different ways because like I tell people like people ask me like why'd you start a podcast? Like how do you even come about it? It's like it wasn't even my idea to be honest. People just kept asking me when they saw my logo had a podcast, and I was like, maybe I'm supposed to have a
You
podcast.
need one. Look, that's what look. God was trying to tell you something. Go ahead,
Yeah,
start it up,
yeah,
Paul.
yeah, yeah. He was. He was
Yeah.
definitely trying to tell me something, and even with that, because I'm definitely a stubborn person, as you have seen some glimpses of it, and you've talked me off the ledge a few times, which
Oh
I
yeah.
appreciate.
Oh yeah.
But so even with that, it took some time before I leaned into it, and then once I really the last a little over a year since last beginning of 2023, I leaned into it,
hmm
and I just feel much more joy and happiness because I'm living out who God has called out to me,
Yeah,
called me to be, instead of me trying to be what I think other people want me to be.
that's powerful, Paul. It's powerful. And it's funny because like myself and my little sister, we grew up in the church, right?
Mm.
And you know, we it's for it's I had to really learn from my little sister, right? Um, just about faith, right? Um, because so many things have happened in life, and just staying true and staying faithful to God, you know what I mean, for putting us in the positions that we're in. Like really understanding perspective, right? And I thank God for it because a lot of people are not able to differentiate. They think that bad is like God being spiteful to them, or wanting them to hurt or something like that. But it's a balance. Is there's good and there's evil. There has to be, both sides to it. And you can't always look at the test that God gives you as a bad thing, because for every test there's a testimony, right? Because of what God's not going to put you in something that he can't bring you through. And I'm a very strong believer in that, right? You know, my sister was really there for me and my wife when we were having our daughter, because our daughter was born early. So our daughter was a preemie. She was 2 pounds 7 ounces when she was born, Paul. You could literally hold her in the palm of your hand, right? Came home on oxygen. She was in the NICU for 126 days, right? But all I could remember is going back and forth to the hospital and my sister constantly saying, D, God got you. Don't worry about anything. You know what I mean? Your daughter's going to be fine. She's going to be excellent, right? And, you know, I sit there now and I look at my daughter, and that's all I can remember is hearing my sister say those things. And looking at my daughter now, you can never tell that she was premature, right? Excelling, kindergartner, just, articulate, just everything, that God has made her, and she's just so special. And now looking at my son, and him growing up and getting bigger, 6 months now, little chunky guy, just all
Man,
green,
already six
man.
months,
Six
man.
months, man. He'll be 7 months here shortly, man, on the 11th. So that guy, man, I'm like, where did the
Mm.
time go? You know what I mean? So, but I had to put it in perspective that at this point in my life, God has allowed me to be a facilitator of memories, right? So, you know, we don't know how much time we have left, right? But we have to make sure we don't count the time, but we make the time count, right? So I challenge anybody that is watching this podcast today that you should you don't know how much time you have left. So you got to make the time count, right? So don't live your life, you know, second guessing or playing a what if game. Pursue what you're passionate about, and those relationships that are broken, mend them, right? Because we don't know how much, like, God has given all of us an hourglass, right? And the sand that's in the top of that hourglass, right, is how much time that we have left, but we can't see it. We don't know how much sand we have left, right? But we don't have control over how much sand we have. And all of the sand that has already fallen is the past. The sand that has yet to fall is the future. The only point of control that we have is the present, right? So you can't worry about trying to control the past or trying to make it to the future. You can only live now, right? So I try to be, you know, intentional about every second that I have left on this planet to make sure that I am living in my purpose. And when you live in your purpose, that's when God rewards you and just continues to bless you. And he'll bless you so much to the
Mhm.
point where he'll scare you. Because you're like, God, I don't think
Yeah.
I'm ready for this. What is this? You want me to do what?
Yeah,
And
what
you
is
like,
this?
well, hey,
Mhm.
if you putting me in this position, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna ride that wave right with you. You know what I mean? So I am a firm believer in that, man, and really making the time count. Because, like I say, I figured that when people leave this earth, right, mourning is nothing but time not spent, right? So when you're missing someone, you're missing spending that time with them. You know what I mean? Like when you think about the memories that you had with that person, you're like, man, like I wish I could have did this or I wish I could have did that. Go do those things. If that person is still here, go do those things with that person. You know what I mean? And make that time count because I guarantee you, when you look back and you think about that memory that God bless you with, you're gonna be like, man, I'm glad I did that. You know what I mean? And because you'll never forget that memory, so I think that's I think that's a really important thing right now, man, because people are living not less and less, as time goes on. So we got to make the time count, man. We really do.
Oh, that's really powerful, and we can definitely go more into that. But we're about out of time, and I told you I knew we were gonna go longer because we could
Yeah,
go forever.
we can.
But
Absolutely.
yeah, but I want to make sure if there's anything that you haven't shared about yourself, your story, your family, that you get a chance to share that out before we close things out.
Uh, Not really, Paul. Like I say, man, I just appreciate the opportunity you have me here today, man, and being able to share, my
Absolutely.
life experiences with you and all of your listeners, man. I consider it an honor to be on here because I've watched your podcast with all of the different esteemed people that you've had on there, and I consider it an honor that you've asked me to be on here. So, hey, I'm in the club now. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? Credit. You know what I mean?
Yes,
I'm
you
out there
are.
with you, Paul.
You
Yeah.
are.
So, yeah, man, I really appreciate you, man. I really do,
That's no, I appreciate you taking the time. Like, you mean a lot to me, Don. Like, what you like, just honestly, the time I spent with with Hanko before, like it would
man.
not have been the same without you. Like I wasn't there
Appreciate that.
that long, but I wouldn't have made it as long as I did without you. That is for sure. Like
Absolutely,
you
man.
made the work experience great. And I even told my wife, I was like, oh, Don's out today or Don's out this week. He just had
Yeah.
a kid.
Yep.
Like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, and she's like, don't you have a job to do? I'm like, yeah, but still.
Oh, yeah, man. We had a lot of fun,
So
man.
you mean a lot. Like I think there's at least for me there I consider you we haven't known each other that long, but
Yeah.
consider like it's a lifelong friendship that we've
Oh,
developed.
absolutely, man.
So
Absolutely, man. I done had you over the house, Paul. You done came to the crib, man, and broke bread with
yeah.
me and my family, man. So, hey, I consider you family, man. Absolutely. So,
Mhm.
whenever you hear, man, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, and you want to swing by, doors always open, man. You and your wife, man. Whatever y'all need, we got y'all, man. Absolutely.
I appreciate it. Appreciate it. Well, as we wrap things up, I want to make sure people know how to connect with you, whether it's on social media, LinkedIn, however you want people to be able to connect with you. You can share that.
Absolutely. I'm on LinkedIn. You can find me at Donald Trice. Instagram, I am Virtuoso. And on Facebook, I am Don Trice.
Awesome.
Sir.
For those of you watching, you'll see it come across the screen already. For those of you listening, you can go to the show notes. I'll have the links in there for sure. But Don, it was great having you on the show. You're a brother to me. Like, thanks for sharing your story and like even how you were able to get into engineering from your
Yeah.
grandfather and your what was you said? It wasn't
Godfather.
your stepdad. It was
Yeah, my
Godfather.
godfather.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what it was.
Mhm.
Godfather as well. And even how you chose your career, how you were able to really speak it into existence when you were interviewing with the HR manager, worked with your wife for several years,
Yeah.
getting to experience South Texas, Iowa. We didn't even get into it. So I'm gonna mention it here at the end. We didn't get into it. Like as far as like when you were in South Texas, which is like grill barbecue capital of the world, like you won a barbecue grill competition for your
No,
company the first year you were
it
there.
was a chili cook-off, man. So it was a
Oh,
chili
the
cook-off.
chili.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was a
yeah, yeah.
chili cook-off, man.
Yeah,
They had a chili cook-off, man. I entered and I won
yeah.
22 companies, man, in South Texas. I didn't think the Midwest Miracle could come in to South Texas and and win. But I pulled it off, man.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
really did, man. That was awesome. That was an awesome experience. It was.
Yeah, no, it was good. Yeah, it was chilly. I know you're also really good at grilling and barbecuing too, so that's why like you
Oh
just do it
yeah.
all. We
Oh
didn't get to
well.
get it.
I had to tell you, man. I've been taught by the greatest. My dad, my grandfather, grill masters. They taught me everything they know. They took me under their wing, man,
Mm-hmm,
and it brings me joy
mm-hmm.
to continue it. And I hope to instill it into my son to keep the legacy going. You know what I mean?
There you go. There you go. Yeah, keep it going.
Sir.
Yeah, but for everyone else that's been listening, I hope you got something from Don's story, like what we were sharing about really being intentional with your life, what you're learning. Like technology is great, but just continue to develop in your leadership, develop your life skills, your leadership skills. If you can do those things, connect with the right people, your network is truly your network. You can be incredible. Thanks for listening.
Be sure to rate and review this podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform. We'll see you here next time. And be incredible. Incredible.